My name's Rafael, you're watching Rock and Roll Garage, and today I'm going to show you the 10 singers that Bruce Dickinson loves. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave your comment below, tell me what you think. Okay, well, let's start. The first one is Robert Plant, the Led Zeppelin vocalist. And Bruce already said that he believes that Robert is one of the bases for the heavy metal singing style. He was certainly a direct influence to the way heavy metal singers used to sing. So heavy metal probably wouldn't be the same without Plant, according to Bruce. And in an interview with Loudwire back in 2015, he said he gave a really interesting statement about Led Zeppelin and Robert, and he said the early Robert Plant stuff, really early Zeppelin, was unbelievable. My favorite stuff from that era, they did like Danish TV shows and they did live. It's completely unedited, raw as it was, and it's just astonishing. It's primal. That's what Bruce said about Plant. And the interesting thing is that Iron Maiden covered Led Zeppelin's Communication Breakdown, which is a classic song from Led Zeppelin 1, their first album, and it was released as the B-side of the 1990 single Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. And we move to the next one, which is probably Bruce's favorite singer of all time, who is Mr. Ian Gillan, the Deep Purple vocalist, Ian Gillan. And it's not a secret that Deep Purple is probably Bruce's favorite band. He always praised Deep Purple and Ian Gillan his entire career. He always said that he was a huge fan of the band. And there's an interesting story that if you want to read more about all we're talking about in this video, you can go to the description and read the article. And you're going to read all these stories I'm telling you, because when Bruce was still part of Sensen, he's the band he was part before he joined Iron Maiden. They were recording an album, and they were recording in a studio owned by Ian Gillan. And one day, Ian Gillan appeared there, and he wanted to hear what they were doing. And he said, "Who's the singer?" And great, and he praised Bruce. And Bruce wasn't feeling well. He didn't smoke, and that day he smoked what they were smoking there, and he went to the bathroom and he puked a lot. And sometime later, Ian Gillan appeared there with a towel and helped him and put him in a cab then and sent him home. And he said that until today, whenever he sees Ian, he remembers that story, and they both laugh about it. And you know, Bruce's connection with Deep Purple, it's really big, and he played with the band many times. He played with Roger Glover, Ian Page, John Lord, and he even toured with an orchestra only singing Deep Purple songs recently. So he's a big fan of Deep Purple, and Ian Gillan is really important to him. And we move to the next one, who is Ronnie James Dio, the former Elf, Rainbow, and Black Sabbath and Dio vocalist. And he is a very important singer to Bruce as well. And Bruce liked especially his work with Rainbow. In an interview with Consequence in 2022, he said that some records that inspired him when he recorded that first album with Iron Maiden in 1982 were Rainbow Rising, released in 1976, and Heaven and Hell, released by Black Sabbath in 1980, which was the first album with Dio on vocals. And he really said that, he even recalled in that interview that he really was really surprised when he heard the Rainbow track Stargazer for the first time. He really was in shock hearing Dio's incredible vocals on that track. And we move to the next ones, who are from the late 80s, early 90s, when they first achieved fame, especially in the 90s. And they are Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder. Chris Cornell, formerly the late Chris Cornell, who was the vocalist for Soundgarden and Audioslave, and Eddie Vedder, who is the vocalist of Pure Jam. And he said this in an interview with Let It Rock. He praised both of these singers, saying they were the best rock voices from the previous years. He said, this is an interview with Let It Rock back in 2001, and he said, best two rock voices I've heard in the last few years, both have been from grunge bands. It's Eddie Vedder, and the other one is Chris Cornell from Soundgarden. That's what Bruce said. So although it is grunge kind of killed heavy metal and really made things difficult for heavy metal bands in the 90s, he still liked those grunge groups. There were no hard feelings about that. And in an interview with Folhetim, which was a segment of the Brazilian newspaper called Folha de São Paulo, back in 1997, that we translated, he said, the best voice I've heard in rock is Chris Cornell. I don't think he's going to sing hard rock anymore, but he can beat any metal vocalist. This is what Bruce said in 1997 about Chris Cornell. Incredible vocalist for sure. And we move to the next one, and the next one is Ann Wilson from Heart. And Bruce also likes her. And in an interview, actually, he was touring with his spoken word tour. And in an interview, when answering fan questions in 2022, he mentioned Ann Wilson, and this is what he said that we transcribed. The one that rolls off the tip of my tongue is Ann Wilson from Heart. Although she didn't have the kind of, not charisma, authority, or whatever of somebody like Janis Joplin, an equally great voice and things like that. She's just a complete all-arounder. The most amazing voice, a beautiful folk singer, fantastic metal singer with a lovely edge to it, flawless technique, honestly noteworthy, amazing. This is what he said about Ann Wilson from Heart, and she really is. She's incredible. Totally agree with him. And now probably the most unknown name from this list, who is Peter Hammill. Peter Hammill was the vocalist and the multi-instrumentalist of the British progressive rock band Van der Graaf Generator. It's another great band that Bruce admires. And as he said in an interview with Henrik Johansson back in the late 90s, he said that Hammill was one of his childhood lyrical heroes. And this is what he said. Peter Hammill was one of my childhood lyrical heroes. But you say Peter Hammill to most people and they go, huh? And it's such a shame because they had so much more to them, I think, than Genesis. They're a bunch of pansies compared to Van der Graaf, really. When I was a kid, I used to go through his lyrics with a microscope. Lyric-wise, I was really into Peter Hammill, Ian Anderson, and Gillan. Gillan's lyrics, I thought they were pretty cool and they were very rock and roll, especially the early stuff from Deep Purple and rock. I was never particularly into Robert Plant lyrics. They just never really got to me. I like them more now than I did then. In general, I sort of appreciate Led Zeppelin a bit more now than I did when I was a kid. And Peter Hammill has some really good poetical lyrics, which are very cool. I'd like to write more of them in the future. That's what he said about Peter Hammill. So it's another singer that influenced him a lot and that he likes. And we move to the next one, who is the Jethro Tull multi-instrumentalist and vocalist Ian Anderson. And it is another one that he loves. And in an interview with Eddie Trunk in 2021, the singer revealed that he loves Aqualung, probably the most famous Jethro Tull album. I think it's their best-selling album. And he said, Steve Harris, for example, Iron Maiden's bassist and leader, is a big fan of Jethro Tull. I'm also a big fan of Jethro Tull. He loves a passion play and thick as a brick, but I'm more aqualung and the early stuff. That's what he said. And he, like Led Zeppelin, he also had the chance to cover one Jethro Tull track, and it was Cross-Eyed Mary, which Iron Maiden recorded in 1983 and was released as the B-side of The Trooper, when The Trooper was released as a single, that classic track. And the interesting thing is that back in 2011, Bruce had the chance to share the stage with Anderson, and you can look on YouTube, you can see that presentation. He performed with Ian as a special guest at the Canterbury Cathedral in England. And we move to another one, who is Paul Rodgers. And Paul Rodgers is the famous vocalist of Free and Bad Company. And it's another singer that influenced Bruce a lot. And Bruce also said in an interview with Matthew Rules that Paul was also one of the bases for the heavy metal vocal singing style, in his opinion. And in an interview with Matt O'Hammer back in 2022, he said, "Paul Rodgers, I just thought that Rodgers was stunning. I didn't even really try and copy his phrasing because I thought you just can't. He's just so good." That's what he said. And he certainly is one of the greatest singers of all time. And besides Free and Bad Company, he also was part of the supergroup The Firm, which also had Jimmy Page as the guitarist. And we move to the final one in the list. And the final one in the list is the god of Hellfire, Mr. Arthur Brown. And he's famous for the song Fire. And the interesting thing is that Bruce had the chance to see him performing when he was a kid. And he recalled this in an interview with Double J in 2018. And this is what Bruce said. "I saw Arthur Brown at school. He played in his school. He wasn't doing Crazy World, but he was doing a band called Arthur Brown's Kingdom Come. It was pretty advanced for its day. I was 15 years old and my mind scrambled on Mars bars and Fanta. I had a massive sugar rush. I'm sitting there and the lights go down in this small gothic great hall, and out comes Arthur, dressed in this Inca headdress. He stands before an altar. There's no drummer in the band, just two keyboard players, a bass player and a guitarist. There's a drum machine. This is 1975, a drum machine, and it's played by Arthur." That's what a small part of what Bruce said about Arthur Brown, and he had the chance to see him when he was a kid. So these are 10 singers that Bruce Dickinson likes, and I hope you like the video. Please leave your like, leave your comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to read more about this, visit rockandrollgarage.com. Okay? See you later. Thank you for watching.